Now, as the Mets offense continues to struggle, one of the biggest weak links so far has been Starling Marte. Throughout the first month of the season, Marte is slashing 213, 292, 278 with a 68 WRC plus in 121 plate appearances. His defense has also taken a dip with a negative 2 outs above average in right field and accumulating a negative 1.5 defensive runs per positional adjustment. Manager Buck Showalter has expressed interest in moving Marte down in the lineup, but it does create a challenge when it comes to balancing out the rest of the lineup.
It's been tough for me to watch as a huge Starling Marte fan to see him just looking not like himself in every aspect of the game, whether it's hitting in the field, on the bases, just not getting the job done. And what's so weird to me is that he started off the year pretty well. I mean, come April 15th, he was still, at 277. He was doing his thing. He was my stud of the week a couple times and what have you. And then once the middle of April hit, he's just been on a decline, and it's just been a avalanche of just bad game after bad game after bad game, and he's striking out a lot more than usual. He just doesn't look like himself overall, and part of me hopes and doesn't hope that he's injured, because I'm like, what's going on with this guy? He just looks off. So if he's hurt, then at least maybe you could fix him. But he's another guy who, unfortunately, Marte's a great player, but he's up there in age as well. The guy is 34. He'll be 35 by the time the year is over. His birthday's early October, if the Mets even get that far. So he's a guy that, again, once you hit that 35 threshold, you're on the decline. We knew that was going to be part of the contract when you signed him to the 4-year deal in his mid-30s. You knew that the best years were going to be the first two, and then you were going to have to move him around. We thought he was going to be at center, then move to right field. He never even got to center. He just went straight to right. I wonder if maybe he goes from right field to DH. And I feel like it took too long for him to get a day off. I would say he finally got the day off on Sunday. I think it was long overdue. A guy at that age who's been struggling that much. But the Mets are not in a position where it's like, when you give Marte a day off, who's the guy that comes in for you? Luis Guillorme. So Jeff McNeil moves to right field. So it's just like, okay, you could rest Marte, but does that make your team better by having Luis Guillorme playing, who's just another guy who, like everybody else on this team, is a one-base player, a one-dimensional player? He'll give you a walk or a single. That's about it. He's not going to move on the bases. I mean, Marte's a guy, when at his best, he's actually different than a lot of these other guys that I'm complaining about, the Canna, the Guillorme, the Vogelback, the Nito, so many of these guys that just are, even McNeil, one base players. Marte, when he's at his best, he's using all fields, extra base hits, stealing bases, going first to third, second to home. Like, he's just making things happen, which is what this team needs right now. They need somebody that is explosive, that can do more than just go one base at a time, that isn't looking to draw walks, a guy that wants to swing the bat. Like, that's why Marte in that 2-hole, when he's going, it's huge for this team. And when Alonso's struggling and now Marte is not looking like himself, you see the results. This team can't score. So they've got to get it going. If that means he needs to rest a couple more days, I wish that the Mets in recent memory have never been transparent when it comes to player health. So I feel like even if there was something going on, nobody would tell us. So that's because he's just been a guy who, we know he had the core and then the groin and the other groin and the hand by the time it was all said and done. And he had the off-season surgery and he started spring training late. He's just a guy that he's been injury prone late in his career that you just never know. It feels like he's one of those guys where you feel like at any point something could go wrong in that lower half, and then you won't see him for a little bit of time. So I hope he's okay, but I also just want to know why. Like, what happened to where all of a sudden this guy is just so far off in every aspect of his game? And it's just a big concern right now because he is so important to this team's offensive success.
Most of the time he's coming up in just uncompetitive ABs. Again, wipe out sliders, swinging, goodbye, 3 pitches, whatever. And he's not even, like, fastballs in, he usually turns on those. Not doing that. We always said the ground ball problem has always been the issue, and having him in the 2 spot is a concern with Nemo walking, and then boom, double play, and then you kind of can kill the rally. But like Frank said, when he is hot, those opportunities, can be first and third. When he's hot, it can produce some rallies. With Marte, it is again his age 37, like you said, 4-year deal. We were going to talk about the last 2 years.
34.
Wait, what?
He's 34.
So,
He's 34.
oh, 34. My bad.
If he was 37,
37.
every time
37?
I'm tacking on the.
He's playing like he's 37.
Yeah, I'm tacking on the Mets years because you always when you play for the Mets, you
That's,
tack
no,
on
that's
a
fair.
few more years
That's
than
fair.
what you actually are. But this was again the concern we had, and the outfield class again. I don't want to jump to conclusion of the outfield in the offseason, but I was going to propose that Starling Marte needs to be the Tommy Pham role next year. He needs to be kind of that fourth outfield. You can utilize him with the DH. They need to bring in 2 quality corner outfielders. Will they? That's another story. But yeah, it's just nothing. And even the defensively, and that was the one thing you could have banked on. Is last year you were pretty when the ball was at the Marte, you're pretty confident the ball obviously gonna get caught. He's just dropping routine pop-ups now. You've seen 2 in Miami down the right field line. You think Marte's got it lined up? Nope, drops it. So like that's the concerning part is the outfield just regression of Marte. Obviously the bat we'll see. Maybe it bounces back, and he'll get hot. God knows when that's going to be. But will he have a stretch where he goes nuts? Yes. But again, you're having 34-year-old outfielder in right. You got a 34-year-old outfielder older in left. Nemo's the only young guy at 20. He's got 30 now. Again, the problem, maybe if you're going to build a team, don't build the team closer to 50 than 20.
The first 2 weeks, I'd say, Starling Marte looked fine. And one thing that I said that I really liked about it is that he was definitely pulling the ball. And where did that go? What happened? Now this guy's just trying to slap shit to opposite field? No, we don't do that anymore. End of story. Now he looks like shit. Go figure. Yeah, the defense is definitely a major concern, especially when it was one of the biggest factors in Detroit for why that game completely unfolded. But, Buck saying that, if he wasn't going to catch it, nobody was going to catch it. I kind of think that's bullshit, but whatever. Yeah, no, he's looked absolutely terrible. Please, if he is not hurt, take him out of the 2 spot right now. Please take him out of the 2 spot right now, because the next guy that we're going to actually talk about in the next segment, that's the guy who should be batting second. Take him out of the 2 spot. I know we talk about your best hitter being at the 2 spot. I never thought that he was the best hitter on this team. I think that's just Buck being the old-fashioned guy of, your best player bats third and your best power hitter bats cleanup. So I don't know where I got a list from, but no, he looks like absolute shit. And I'm going to tell you right now, with Nimmo getting on base, it's just basically just the full-on idea of just, this is just going to be an automatic double play. Hopefully he can pick it back up. But yeah, he looks like a completely different player than he did last year. And, this was my main concern of just his health. And that was the only problem with giving him the hard 4 years. He's a great player, but he needs to be moved down in this lineup. If you keep batting this guy second, I mean, it's just going to continue to look bad, and we need production out of the top half of the lineup because of how lackluster the bottom half has been last year and still this year. So at this point, please move him down in the lineup. He does not belong in the 2-hole. He has not earned the 2-hole this year. I hope he's hurt. I don't want to see this being Starling Marte from now on. I really hope he is hurt, and I hope we do get an IL stint where we can just completely clear this all up. And I'm going to tell you right now, he started off April last year pretty slow, but it wasn't really that noticeable. This is extremely noticeable when most of his game gets completely knocked down. We talk about his speed. Overall, as a player, he looks like a completely different player. He looks so bad. And I'm really hoping that there's a reason for that. And this isn't just the Starling Marte that we get this year and for the next 2 years in the back end of this contract. Because this is looking really, really scary, especially compared to the Starling Marte that we got last year.